So I'd like to welcome you to, I believe, podcast 14, maybe. Two Old Pirates. Uh, Gabriel, once again, is not going to be able to go and meet with us tonight. So it's just me, Eric, and I'll be doing a quick 25 minute podcast, hoping that you guys enjoy this. We've got so many new subscribers. I really want to say thank you to all the subscribers out there, and we're just blown away by how many views we have. We're like growing by leaps and bounds. This is just two regular guys from a small town in Rockport, Texas, on the coast, and we just talk about a bunch of different things. I'm going to be talking about several things that we covered last week compared to this week, and then we'll of course have some interesting facts, information for you, something to chew on, and then we'll have our 100% true story. All the facts true, all the characters 100% real people, and it actually did happen. So I want to start off by saying hello to everyone. I hope that you and your families are all doing well and that you're healthy and safe. Please, please, please stay home. Wash your hands. Keep your distance. Do all the things that they've been saying, because the worst case scenarios are kind of happening at times in different parts, especially in New York, and it's already past Washington State and stuff like that. So sorry for the different coloring and stuff like that, but the light above me doesn't really work. I'm not a professional, so I just leave something on in the background. So if that bothers you or something, let me know, and I can try to set something up. I'm just a school teacher just doing a podcast. I want to tell you that teaching is going well. Most of my students are turning their work in. So if you are one of my students and you happen to be watching this, then you know that Mr. Wolf appreciates that. My wife is still having to do the same stuff, and make sure that kids are awake and taking roll and stuff. So I just want to let you know. Some of you might say, why is he wearing this? Well, you know about the Celtics, you know about Bird up here, and you know about all the other stuff, but a lot of people don't know this. But in the year 1993, the Boston Celtics came to South Texas. They were actually at the Spurs when they used to play in the Alamo Dome. And they actually had tryouts, and you could try to make it onto the practice team. Not the actual official team, but the practice team. And they basically, had, 200 or 300 guys show up, and I made the practice squad. It didn't last for long, but I was on the Boston Celtics, as you notice. This is my jersey. Let me show you real quick. So yeah, kind of a legend. Kind of amazing that I made it onto that team. That was the year that they had Dominique Wilkins came over and different things like that. I was only around for 7 to 8 days. Just about a handful of practice and stuff. But I was an official Boston Celtic. Just kidding. That's a late April Fool's joke. All right. Of course, I didn't make the Celtics. But here's the deal. I did want to show you the Ocean Blue. The Ocean Blue, I'm giving a shout out to my favorite band. Formed in 1989, they released their first album in Hershey, Pennsylvania, a small town up in Pennsylvania, known for Hershey chocolates. And I've been following these guys since I was 18. And in high school, I've had the luck to see them about a handful of times in my life. And I just want to go ahead and let you know, this is their first album. Okay. And you should start off with Drifting, Falling, and Between Something and Nothing. This is their second album called Cerulean. And Ballerina Control is the best song that they've ever recorded, bar none. I don't care what anybody says. But that's good. Mercury, there's a lot of great songs on this. Their third album is Beneath the Rhythm and the Sound. And Sublime, which was the big hit off of that, is just an amazing song. They released other albums independently over the time. Then they came back with Ultramarine, which is an amazing album in 2013, I believe it was. And Sad Night, Where's the Morning was a really big song on there, but they have a lot of really good songs on here. They all have, their own jobs. They all have, lives, children. But I'm a fanatic about the ocean blue, and you talk to anybody who knows me, and they're it. They're my favorite band, and they go out and tour every now and then. They just put out a new record, Kings and Queens, Knaves and Thieves, which is amazing. All the Way Blue is the song off of that album that blew me away, as in it went back over the last 30 years and just blew me away. So check them out, Ocean Blue. Shout out, guys, free to you guys. So let's talk about a couple other things. In coronavirus, got to talk about it. The last time I talked to you guys, we had just overtaken China and Italy for the most cases in the world, and as of right now, when we talked about it last week, it was 85,000 cases. We're now at 336,673 exact cases. That's the last number I saw before it switched off for the night and it started recording for the next day. So that's a jump from 85 to 336,000 in 1 week. We also had about 1,300 deaths at that time, and right now, when I checked the last time, we were closing in at 10,000. We had 9,600 deaths. So things have amped up. People are still, playing the fool, if that's what you want to call it. They're still having barbecues and swim parties and going out to the beach and all these other things. And it's just like, I don't know when it'll hit them. I know in Oasis County here, what they've told us is the official count is 53 people have it. So 53 people supposedly have the coronavirus and have tested positive for that. That does not mean that there's not more. That just means those are the ones that have been tested. So I want to go ahead and just touch on that a little bit. We're hoping that we'll flatten that curve as they've talked about, and we can maybe get back to a normal sense of life. But as of right now, this is what we're doing. We're just living and getting by the best that we can. And I'm glad that the American people have not got into that whole road warrior, like I got to take what I got to take when I got to take it so I can survive attitude. For the most part, the times that we have gone out, we've seen a lot of people just being very thoughtful and caring. And that's what we need right now. We don't need all these politics, Trump or anti-Trump, pro-Trump crap. All those things are going to make your blood boil either way. At the end of the day, we need to be here for each other. We need to be Americans. We don't need to be pulled apart. All right. So Gabriel did tell me that he wanted me to go ahead and try to get you guys to understand that some of the stories that are told are from one of the two books that I wrote about the neighborhood growing up. And I thought that I'd show you the first one that I wrote. It was going to be a 2-volume. Is How the Ball Bounces. Let me see if I can get that right. Right there. All right. And it says The History of the Rockport Celtics, Volume 1. And if you read this book, it's not very, it's not a real thick book or anything. You can get it on Amazon, on Barnes & Noble, anything like that. I still have several that I have here that I could go and sign for somebody and mail it to you or something. But the thing is, it's not just about basketball. I know some people just can't stand sports, so they don't like basketball. And it's not just about life and stuff. The biggest compliment that I've heard from anybody is that it's kind of like they said it's like a coming of age story, like Breaking Away, if you remember that old bicycling movie from the 70s or something, or The Sandlot. It's something like that. It tells stories about us as kids in the neighborhood that we grew up in, very poor, almost 100% Hispanic, and how we dodged the bullets of gangs, drugs, all these other things by just, hanging out until they built a basketball court. And after they built the basketball court, you got something that is in here, and it talks about the Mexican Park, and it talks about Lillian, like you heard about. And so what happened is there's so much information that I did volume 1. And, any money that I got off of that, I went ahead and said, well, that's got to go towards volume 2. Wow. Okay. So this one's a little bit thicker, as you see, and this tells the rest of the story. One tells from 1988 up until 2001, and then this one goes 2001 to 2019. So if you're interested in either one of them, I can go and get you a copy. But it's all true. The thing is, all the stories in there are true. I see that we just hit the 10-minute mark of the intro. I did not mean it to go that long, but I've missed all of you so much. So here's the 10-minute mark. The story today is going to be talking about, in 1994, the street ball tournaments that we used to go to, the street ball team that I had, the Rockport Celtics, that the books are about, and the true stories. In 1994, we were going to play at the University of Texas at San Antonio. It was going to be a tournament called Cool Hooping Tournament. And so I talked to a couple guys to see if they could go ahead and go. And a lot of my friends, it was in November. It was chilly out, and they couldn't get off of work, different things. I was in college at the time. But I did get Lewis, famous Lewis. If you remember, I told stories about him. But anyways, you'd have to go back and look at the other podcasts. So I got Lewis, who is not a basketball player by any means. This is one of the strangest tournaments I've ever been associated with because so many weird things happened on it. All right. Then I talked to a guy named Dave, and Dave wanted to go. And he said that we could stay at his grandparents' house. It was a 2-story. It had a pool and everything, and they were going to be out of town. They're relatively wealthy. And he said we can use that, and that's just place to sleep. We all got all the food that we'd want. And I knew that we needed a fourth because it's 3-on-3, but you get your sub. And so I asked another guy named Edward. So the 4 of us were ready to go. And my dad said, well, I don't really want you taking your car up there. Why don't you take our car? So I was all like, I get to use my parents' car. It was a Lincoln. And I was all like, let's do this. So we decided to drive up to San Antonio from our small town of Rockport. We all loaded in and stuff. We started driving up, and we took the back road to hit Highway 37, which is the main road out of Corpus Christi up to San Antonio. It's about a 150-mile drive. And we're in by this little town called Sinton, S-I-T-O-N, Sinton, Texas. And as I'm coming out of Sinton, I see lights go on behind me. And so the guys are like, what's going on, DeWolf? I said, I don't know. I said, I guess I've got to get pulled over. So we're on this old county road in the middle of nowhere trying to get out all the way to 37. And I pull over, and this old sheriff or deputy or whatever walks up, and he tells me to put down the window. I put down the window, and he's all, where are you boys going? I said, we're on our way to San Antonio, sir. Did I do something wrong? And he's all, do you have your driver's license? And I was all, yes, but did I do something wrong? And he's all, well, you don't have to worry about that. So everybody got out the driver's license, handed it to the officer. He went back. Everybody's freaking out, even though we didn't do anything wrong. But he stayed back there for a while and stuff, and I could see him on his, CB radio. And so I just, we went with it. And he walked back up. He's also, where are you boys going? I said, I told you we're going to go to San Antonio. He's all, what for? And I said, we're going to play in a basketball tournament. He's all, you guys are going to play basketball? And I was all, yeah. He was pretty condescending about that. I was all, yeah, we're going to go and play basketball. He's all, where at? I said, UTSA. And he's all, what's that? I said, University of Texas, San Antonio. He's all, you're going to go to a college to play? I said, well, they're going to go and open it up this weekend, and we're going to get to play on the court, so it'll be kind of cool to play up there, I know. And so he's also, you guys are going up there just to play basketball. Can you pop the trunk? Now I'm starting to get a little nervous. Like, dude, we haven't done anything. There's no other cars coming by. We're on a county road in the middle of nowhere, Texas. So I popped the trunk. He looks through everything. He looks through our bags a little bit and stuff. And, at any time I could have, thrown up some of my rights and stuff. But, we knew that we weren't doing anything wrong. The guys in the car were getting a little nervous and stuff. So finally, he's like, you can go sit back down in your car. So I go and sit back in the car, and this is before cell phones or anything. So, there's no way, nobody to call or anything. So he comes back to the car a little bit, and he hands back our IDs and stuff. And he's all, well, you guys be careful going up there. I said, sir, can I ask you why you stopped us? This is literally what he said. I swear to you. He said, well, we had an APB put out that somewhere in South Texas that there were 4 people that were in a red sports car that they had just robbed a bank, and that we were on the lookout for them. I said, okay, well, this is not a red car, and it's not a sports car, it's a Lincoln. And he's like, yeah, I understand all that. And I said, and did we match up with these people? Because 2 of us were Hispanic and 2 of us were white. He's all, oh no, it was 4 African-American men. You had us on the side of the road for like 30 minutes. You went through our stuff, and none of us were African-American. And he's all like, well, you never can tell. You got to be safe. You guys take it easy. Bye. And he taps the top of the car and walks back, and we're like, that should have told that this was going to be one of the weirdest tournaments ever. We drive all the way up there. We get to Dave's grandparents' house. We go in there. It's a big, beautiful house, sprawling house, a lot of nice things and stuff, and we're like really blown away by it and stuff. What happened was that night after we got something to eat, when we came back, remember there was no call waiting or caller ID or anything like that. There was nothing like that. And Lewis, being the man whore that he was, he said, "Man, let's call some chicks." And I was like, "Who are you gonna call?" And he's like, "I don't know." So him and Edward go over and get the San Antonio phone book, which was about that thick, a pretty big, thick phone book. You know, about 1 million people lived in just the city alone, never mind the surrounding areas. They open it up, and they decide to start looking for like 2 girls' names, like sisters or something. So I'm watching TV. Dave's making something, to eat, like he's getting some nachos or something like that. And we're not really paying attention. And then after about 25 minutes, I see them say, "Can we borrow the phone, Dave?" And Dave's all, "Yeah, I guess." So they take a phone, and it's cordless, and they go into the other room to be quiet. So I get up, and I kind of like look around the corner, and I'm like listening to them and stuff, and they're like, "Hey, we're in town. We're from Rockport. We ain't got anything to do. If you guys want to party or something, let us know. My name is Lewis and Edward, and just give us a call back at this number." And they saw the number written on the inside of the phone, so they knew the number. So they said the name of the phone. They gave the number of the phone, excuse me. And so anyways, to make a long story short, they hung up. I said, "What was that all about?" And they said, "Well, we saw these 2 girls' names, and we figured that they're sisters, and they have their own phone number, so we just called them." And, we just didn't think anything of it. And so we went back to watching TV, just chilling, getting ready for the next day for basketball. About 20 minutes later, the phone rings. So Dave thought it might be his grandparents or something, or maybe his parents, to make sure that we got there okay. And he goes to answer it, and I see him go, "Hold on a second. Lewis, the phone's for you." Lewis is all like, "What?" So he walks over there, and he gets on the phone, and you can just see, this is a dude who liked to party and sleep around and stuff, so he was not the kind of guy to get caught off guard. And his face just goes white. And he's all, "Edward, come here." And Edward comes over there, so I start running over there too. I'm like, "What's going on?" And he's all, "It's those chicks from earlier. What do I do?" And he's all, "Talk to them." So they talked for a little bit, and they decided that they'd try to get together maybe the next day, and that they were both in high school, that they were sisters. One was older than the other one. One was a cheerleader, and one was a tennis player. And that to call them back tomorrow, that they were busy tonight. It was a Friday night, and that to call them back tomorrow. So they hung up, and they're like, "Dude, that's so cool," and stuff. And Dave, he's just watching TV. He's not even paying attention. He's not interested. He's got his own chick. I was, dating my future wife at the time, so, I wasn't interested. But, like I said, Lewis, different character, and Edward didn't have anybody. So Dave happened to say, "Well, what part of the city are these girls in?" And Lewis was like, "I don't know." And so to make a long story short, he said, "Show me in the phone book where you got the phone number." And so they went ahead and they went back to the phone book, and they had left it open, thankfully, because if they had closed it, we probably never would have found it. And I swear, this is where, like, if you don't believe in heebie-jeebies or like spirits or something like that, I don't normally believe in them, but this kind of scared the crap out of me. Dave looked at the address, and he was like, and Dave didn't cuss a whole lot, and he was like, "No effing way," and he was like shocked, and I was like, "What's going on, Dave?" And he's all, "Come with me." And I was like, "All right." So we walk outside his grandparents' front door, and we walk out. And we go to the mailbox, and he says, "What's this address?" And I read the address off to him. And then he's all, "Look there." And it was already dark out, but it was there was lights on in the different houses and stuff so that you could see something. The house next to him was just a normal house. The house next to him, next to that one, 2 houses down, I swear to you, 2 houses down, it had the girl's name, and it showed the high school that she went to, like one of the signs that you'd put in the front yard, and it showed tennis. And it showed the other girl's name, and it showed volleyball. And I said, no. No. Lewis and Edward had no idea. And they're like still sitting inside just chilling or whatever like that. And me and Dave walked down maybe the, 100 feet. And sure enough, that address is the same address as in the book. And I looked at Dave, and Dave was like really nervous. Like, who the hell? How did this even happen? So we ran back inside, and we told Lewis and Edward, we were like, hey, do you want to see those chicks tonight? And they're like, well, no, they said we're going to hook up tomorrow and stuff. I said, but you could see them tonight. They didn't understand why. I said, let's go outside. So we'd ordered pizza for later on that night. And the pizza guy was just showing up. And when he was showing up, I said, okay, I'll give you a tip and stuff because, we'd paid over the phone with a credit card. And Dave walked Lewis and Edward down there and showed them the house. And literally, Lewis is one of the meanest, toughest dudes I've ever met in my life. He comes running back past me into the house like he just saw like Lechusa or Chupacabra or something like that. He's like, oh my God, he's like praying on his knees and stuff. And he's all like, oh God, please don't send me to hell and stuff. So to make a long story short, in that entire phone book with well over 1 million people, Lewis and Edward opened up to a page that had 2 girls' names on it and called it and got a call back and could have been set up the next night to go out and party with them. And that house was literally 150 feet to the left of us. That is a true story. I'm not bullshitting you. Excuse the language, but I'm not bullshitting you. That is 100% true. And, that's 26 years ago. This November will be 26 years. It still gives me the heebie-jeebies. That's a quarter of a century that out of all the people, all of them, Dave wasn't part of it. I wasn't part of it. They happened to open up and call a phone number, and when they got these chicks' answer machine, they just left a message. And then the girls called back. And then Dave happened to say, where's this place at? And then he was freaked out for the rest of the weekend. I mean, we still played ball and stuff, but he was still freaked out. That's just it, weird. You can't fix anything with that. And to top it off, to make it possibly the weirdest and worst tournament ever, is the next morning when we had to get out to UTSA at 9 o'clock in the morning, I looked for my basketball shoes. And other than a basketball, the other thing that you need is your shoes. And I had left them at home. So I had a pair of like Colorado boots, not cowboy boots, but like boots that go up about 3/4 of the ankle. They were kind of fashionable in the 90s for some of you. And there was no stores that were going to be open before that first game. So I had to go ahead and play our first game with boots on. And so people thought I was different or maybe special. And we got our asses whipped. We played against a team of guys who actually played at UTSA. They played in the tournament. And I don't know why they would, because they were just going to get regular guys like us. And they whipped the crap out of us. And then our next game was almost back-to-back, so I didn't get to go buy any shoes. And I had to play in boots again. So that tells you about the 1994 Cool Hoopin' Tournament, 100% true. And I have to end it with the last part, which is kind of adult-oriented. But that Saturday night, instead of going to meet up with those chicks, Lewis wanted to go ahead and rent a porno. All right. And I wasn't from San Antonio. Dave's not from San Antonio. These guys aren't from San Antonio. And I was like, what do you want to get a porno for? He's like, oh, I just want to rent one. So we drove around, and back then there were still like mom and pop video places. And he found one, but he didn't want to go in. And he wasn't 21. I think I don't know if he had to be 18. I don't know. But he sent Edward in. So Edward had to go in to rent an adult movie for Lewis. All right. Lewis did not want to talk to those girls, which is like a never happened in his life. But he didn't want to talk to those girls because he thought there was some weird bad mojo with them being so close and stuff, that this should not have happened. It was just too weird. So Edward goes in. He's in there for about 20-25 minutes, and then he finally comes out, and he has a video called Valley Girls. I remember it due to the fact that later on that night there was almost a fist fight between Lewis and Edward, due to the fact that it was the worst adult movie, porno, whatever you want to call it, ever filmed. I heard the yelling. I was downstairs watching TV. I heard some screaming upstairs, and I was like, what the hell? And as I get upstairs, Lewis is every other word's mother effer, you stupid piece of blah blah blah, you mother effer, mother effer, mother. And I was like, what the, what's going on and stuff? And he said, look at this. And I said, I ain't gonna watch this stuff. And he's all like, just watch it, dude. So he hit play, and literally whoever made this video, they did not record any like actual full nudity. Never mind sex. You didn't see any full nudity. So it was almost like a steamy, I don't even know what you would call it. I mean, it was bad. I mean, there was nothing going on that you could actually see. Whenever they would zoom in, it would be like an armpit, or it'd be like somebody's cheek. I mean, it was horrible. I swear to God, it was horrible. And Lewis is just looking at Edward, and Edward's like, bitch, why'd you send me in then, bitch? And Lewis is all, because you're supposed to be able to pick a porno. There's just an entire adult section. How could you not pick something correctly? And he's all like, well, I don't, bitch. And he just kept on calling him bitch over and over and stuff. And so Edward was mad that he had to go in, and then Lewis was unhappy with his choice. So Lewis started calling Edward Valley Rat. I don't know. After that, because of the Valley Girls. But evidently it was like, I only watched maybe 2.5, 3 minutes, and it was, you had to take it back. So Edward, we had to return it that night, and then he rented, I forgot what movie it was. It was some regular movie and then we all watched it. It was a science fiction movie. The only reason I remember Valley Girls and Valley Rat is because how I thought Lewis was going to beat the crap out of him because he didn't get a good skin flip. So anyways, I just want to go ahead and once again say thank you to everybody who's tuning in. We're at the 27-minute mark. I was hoping I could make this a little bit shorter. Maybe I'll go back and fix it. I want to thank all the new subscribers. I want to thank everybody who's viewing these videos. I hope that you enjoyed this story about the 1994 Cool Hoopin' Tournament. It's all true. And it was a strange experience. Billy B, I'm not going to say his whole name. He's an ex-student of mine, and he has been watching these videos, and he said, hey, Coach DeWolf, Mr. Wolf, can you give me a shout-out? So, Billy, here's your shout-out. Thanks for being a good kid and chasing all your dreams, and I hope everything's good for you. For everybody else, please continue to share and subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. We really look forward to having this grow, and I hope to have Gabriel back the next podcast. It just doesn't feel right without him here. But if you guys have any comments, leave them. And I'm sorry about the different coloring and stuff. I'm trying to find a backlight that'll work. And, of course, I just have the TV on and stuff. So it's not going to be 100% professional. But, it is what it is. Celtics. I hope that you guys all have a wonderful time. Stay safe. And we hope to see you again soon. Take it easy, guys.